Ghana's regions of the north are major producers of soya bean, accounting for about 90% of trades soya bean in the country.
Every year when the budget is going to be prepared, they come and ask us for input. And I was consistently putting in that there must be commercial farming for raw materials.
As we are sitting down, we don't know when we are supplying our next trade because we don't have some in the room again. Me, I've managed to get 10 bags. That is what I just show you for now. So I don't know how long it will take me to get even up to the 60 that are supplying.
Our market has been open to foreigners to do anything that they want. They go to the farm gates to buy directly from the farmers. So we are actually short of supply to even run the operations.
You don't starve your own country to feed other countries. You must make sure that your people are satisfied and the excess can be taken away. That's the fundamental principles. You don't starve your own house and then fill the belly of other people outside. Then your people will be hungry. They won't be happy.
In March 2021, the team visited the premises of Vesta Oil Mills, one of the large-scale soya bean processing factories in Ghana. The company has two factories, producing 40 tons and 100 tons respectively. CEO Kwesi Nyameche revealed lack of raw materials was crippling the operations.
We have a 100-ton capacity, so we can process 100 tons of soya beans a day, and the refinery can do 20 tons a day. So we process 100 tons and we refine 20 tons of oil a day if we have the raw material. Since we started, for lack of raw material, the highest we've been able to do is 70 tons a day. It's not that the efficiency is not good or the capacity we cannot meet, but just that we don't have enough raw materials.
He revealed though the processors sometimes support farmers to produce for them, they are often disappointed because of high prices quoted by foreigners invading the market. Mr. Nyameche says the situation is worse this year.
Very unfortunately, our market has been open to foreigners to do anything that they want. They go to the farm gates to buy directly from the farmers. So we are actually short of supply to even run the operations. The season begins in October, and we are in March, and there's no soya bean in the system. So October again. So you can imagine how the situation is affecting us. Coupled with the fact that there's nowhere people could go and then go into the Ghanaian can't go into India and go to the farms and start buying. You have to deal with the institutions. Ghana, we have commodity exchange. Why are they not buying from the commodity exchange, like regulated market, or maybe buy from the aggregators in the markets? But they go to the farm gate directly to buy from the farms. And if you go to the market today and the price is 100 Ghana cedis, you offer 100 Ghana cedis, the next day you go, these guys are giving them 120. So they keep pushing the price up. Mostly we provide tractor services, improved seeds for them to plant, and sometimes during harvest, we finance some of the harvesting and the threshing of the beans. And then we get our payback in kind. The only difficulty we have faced, and we still face, is size selling. Some farmers are sometimes not honest. They take your money. When they harvest, they size sell the beans and they give you storage. And sometimes you have to be going around chasing for your money. So it makes it a bit disincentive. And it's not very good for the industry. Today, the farmers may be enjoying. Good. Tomorrow, if these people are not there and my business has collapsed, then what are the farmers going to do? So something must be done about it. And the earlier they do it, the better.
Kwesi Nyameche is worried importation of already processed soya bean is also compounding the situation and creating unfair competition for the local industries. He revealed plans to shut down.
The major challenges in the industry, one is the raw material supply, two, cost of capital, and three, unfair competition. unfair competition in the sense that if somebody brings in your product into the country tax-free, it's difficult to compete with the person. Coupled with the fact that Ghanaians, as we are, we prefer foreign products. So once the thing has come from maybe Argentina or Brazil, no matter how it is, people feel once it has come from outside, it's better than the local produce. It's greatly affecting our business. Some of our colleagues have shut down already. And looking at the situation, I may shut down next week.
These foreigners, they have huge sums of capacity and they have the money there. So if they are buying, you the local person who helped the farmer to produce and you are trying to help a smooth process of value chain, what are we going to do? We all shut down. And currently as I'm speaking to you, about 80% to 90% of all the processors have shut down. All of them. Because I know Ghana Nut is not working currently. It's not producing or processing soya. Vesta oil, which I believe is not also processing. Dragon, the same. We have Quality Farm, which is also not processing, just because there's no raw material. If you tell them the price and also sit down and do their computations, there's no way they can also make a margin. So the best is to shut down. And even at that higher prices, there's no way you can even get the quantities they are looking for.
This is the finishing section of the Vesta Oil Mills factory. A few weeks ago, this place, that area was filled with some products getting ready for the market. Today, the place is empty. Because of unavailability of raw materials, the factory has been shut down.
My name is Suleiman. I was employed here on 16th November 2020. During that time, or that era, there was a lot of materials or raw materials where we used to produce or to feed the factory. By then, we worked till 30th January 2021 and we was asked to go home because we don't have raw materials to feed the factory. And our work, if you come to work, that they will pay you. If you don't come to it, they will not pay you. So because of that, workers are staying at home complaining. We have about 200 workers here. And all of us, we are asked to stay at home because of lack of the raw materials or shortage of raw materials. In fact, if you wake up early in the morning, you don't know where you go. Because if you stay at the home, it will be difficult to get work.
The Golden Ware Processing Factory is located at Atonsu near Kumasi. This factory has been processing soya bean for the past 15 years, but was producing only 10% of its capacity from the beginning of the year. The company has shut down when we went to meet the CEO, Thomas Wabi Bello.
He came to my factory. It's been closed down because we don't have raw materials. Those who were supplying me, like I told you, we're even developing our own value chain whereby we take supplies. I'm giving about, sometimes even 1 week I pay. But now it's no more coming. I've produced less than 10% of my capacity this year. My workers are now just about maybe under 10. I don't even have them as permanent workers because if I do that, I cannot pay them. When I have raw materials, I give it a contract per ton, do it and go away. Take their money and go away. It's very, very irregular. So a whole lot of things you have to do, you cannot do it just because you don't even know where you're going to get your next raw material.
At full operation, he had 100 workers, but the situation has compelled him to keep only 4 workers who are maintaining the facility.
Right now, I don't have workers. All I have is my security, but the workers are on their own when I need them. Now, I'm lucky employment. If somebody, some of them have been employed by other people. But I have some core one, which it becomes a responsibility. If they need something, they come to me. I myself am suffering, but I have to sacrifice to keep them happy and surviving. So when I have it, about it, the major ones are about 4. And then immediately when there's something, we have some free hands to come in, we engage them at a very high cost.
The situation is affecting the strength of the machines in the factory. Mr. Bello explains he's losing millions of cedis to maintain it.
We have 4 machines. Now, the one we are using can do about 25 tons per day. Now, this 25 tons per day, can fetch us about sales value of our 73,000 Ghana cedis every day. But at the moment, because there are no raw materials, or we are being denied of supply of raw materials, we are doing just one shift of 8 tons if the materials are ready. You come and work about 3 days and the materials are finished until you get new batch of materials. And this 8 tons, you can only give us 23,000 cedis. So you are losing about almost 50,000 cedis a day because you are not working at full capacity. That's the problem we have now. That's even just one machine. So you can imagine, if there are enough raw materials and we are engaging the whole machines, we should be making about 120 or double that money.
This factory has the capacity of accommodating about 10,000 tons of raw materials for the factory here. But because of unavailability of raw materials, it is now empty. And as it stands now, it has begun gathering dust and cobwebs. The processing industry also consists of small-scale factories. One of such is Emmanuel Kwabena-Jesse's factory. He has also been in the processing business for more than 15 years. Mr. Jesse says,
"Na me produce 900 bags a month. Say make me nyan no makura be 250."
His factory is also near empty. Because his demand is not as huge as the large-scale factories, he has managed to hold up demand till now.
Week biana me produce we no 320 bags a week. I'm a chairman of customers and okura na enso I just no nyina how say me customers minya bi ma wanya no how.
Ejayao explains until supply comes, he will keep disappointing customers.
Binum free dunkwa ebeton wo ma no ha ebi free oboase ebepe obi free ekonongo eba anse no kumase yafo no anu so a wo ha no so eso epebi etenam sa ade ne ti no dunkwa afo no frɛ ne se wo anya bia wo mu so wo mu ni ba bia wo mu kwa anya bia no ye hawa high pa.
Now, due to the language barrier, obviously, these foreigners work through the locals. Back in the northern region, we meet Adiza, one of those who buy for the Indians. For close to 2 years, she has been working with them.
I buy for them. Okay, that is what I do. They were being introduced to me by friends. Okay, the company were introduced to me by friends. And then some were being introduced to me by friends. Others to, through the person who brought the business to me. We have a company that we deal with. And so what I do is I buy the soya beans for them. I also get some kind of people around who buy it in stock. Then we send it straight to Tema.
She explains they get to the farmers with higher prices as a strategy to convince them to sell. They go as far as the farm gates.
As at last year, around October, that was the time they themselves started shooting into the rural areas to buy. Now, when I go there with them, what happens is that they give their price. They, the company themselves, give their price. At first, they don't give their price. We determine the price for them. Okay, for instance, I'm an agency and I want to buy for the company over there. With the price, it varies because what happens is that it will begin very low because by then people have harvested. But as time goes on, they are buying it, the price keeps increasing. Or sometimes it will begin high. When a lot of harvest is being done, then it comes down. And so at first, we determine the price for them. But later, what happens is that they themselves when they started intruding into the rural areas, they themselves come out with their price. So they give you their price. For instance, we want you to buy 100 kilo bag for maybe 200 cedi or 210 or 220. And so when you go into the village, you now need to go and bargain with the farmers. If it is lower, that means you have an advantage. If it is not low and it's in this, it tallies the same price with theirs, that means you have an advantage of buying it. That is, if it tallies with their price or is lower, you, the agent, has an advantage.
For her, business within this period has been very good for the foreign clients.
Sometimes within a week, you can load about 2 trucks. Sometimes a week, you can load 1. So if you're able to load like 1 truck in a week, which means in a month, you'll be able to give them about 4 trucks. If it is 2 beans a month, you'll be able to give them like 8 tracks. And the tracks, that is the 100 kilo, takes about 500 bags.
This middle person agreed to speak to us only on phone.
And I want to understand, when they started going to the villages themselves, how did it affect your operations?
Going into the village to buy the soya beans themselves affected us a lot. In the sense that, yes, it causes the prices of the soya beans to go high. Just because, the thing became like in a kind of a serious competition, because they were rushing for it. And then last year, soya beans was not so much in the system. And so because of that, that was what causes the prices to shoot up. And then, so it really affected us. And then, in a way, affected us in such a way also that we couldn't get much soya beans for other companies who even needed it. So some have to restart down along the line. This system cannot be stopped. So currently, as I'm speaking to you, what's the name? People have already started calling me. And which means what happened last year is going to repeat itself this year again. The truth of the matter is I have backed out of that business because I realize it is not something one should rely on. And so going forward, I think the government needs to do something about it by finding a way of stopping these foreigners from going to the rural areas and buying the soya beans themselves, so that we, the Ghanaians, can also have the opportunity of serving them the way we want, so that we can make some ends meet on it. There are many. Some are from China, India, Togo, Burkina, and all those things. And the agents are many. Soya beans business actually is a very vast kind of business. The thing is wide. And so what the season is about is that we just start reaching on the same people again to get it for them. So that's why I'm saying it's not something, if something is not being done about it, it cannot be changed back to the way it used to be. It is actually going to continue.
Previously, though the season would have been over between March and June, there were still supply from aggregated for consumers. Supply will be in moderate demand until November, where new ones will be ready for the market. This is the first time the commodity is in short supply, to a level where factories have had to shut down. The Soya Value Chain Association of Ghana has members including poultry farmers and other value chain drivers. Its members are being denied supply at competitive prices. Chairman Thomas Wabibelo says several engagements with government to address the situation have proven futile.
About 10 years ago, 2010, there was a conference. At the AG organized a conference. There was a great minister there. There was a trade minister there. And then I stood up and brought this soybean program. They don't have raw materials to work. And then people are exporting them. Some people were bold enough to stand up and say, but it's a free trade in Ghana. I can export. There's no law against it. And then we are working with the Export Promotion Council. They are helping us. At that time, the Greek minister said, we are only pleading with them. We are not pleading with them. We are doing what they are doing is wrong. But that's what he said. We are only pleading. I'm only pleading with them that they should not export this thing. Come and say it to me. You think the man will listen to what you are saying? No, they continue.
Mr. Bello is worried the impact on the value chain could be dire.
Already, the poultry farmers, some of them are selling their layers. You know what that means? The shortage of eggs. Because they can't feed it, they can't get the feed. Or if they can, it's so expensive. So they rather sell them and keep their money because they are working at a loss.
Worriedly, the processors have been restrained by government from importing soya beans through high import duties. Mr. Bello says this compounds the situation its members find themselves.
Right now, if I want to import soybeans to feed my factory, I'll pay duty and to produce the soybean cake. But if somebody is going to import soya cake, the soya meal, it's duty free. You don't starve your own country to feed other countries. You must make sure that your people are satisfied and the excess can be taken away. That's the fundamental principles. You don't starve your own house and then feed the belly of other people outside. Then your people will be hungry. They won't be happy. So it's a good thing. It's an advantage for us. That's why we are saying we want to even make Ghana a hub for soybean value chain in West Africa, especially. and then even the whole of Africa. You have to increase the production of the soybeans so you can have excess. But until then, the little that we produce, we must make sure our industries are working.
The government extended subsidies and granted free fertilizers to selected soya farmers. Yet local processing companies are denied supply of competitive prices. There is therefore the need for strict laws to prevent the invasion of foreigners. That is a call by all the players in the industry, from the farmers to traders and aggregators, poultry farmers, and especially processing companies. Seidu, Alhaji, Abdul Karim, Mr. Nyamiche, Thomas Bello, and others echo this.
We're supposed to get shortage of soybeans, something like September going, so that maybe October the new one will start coming. So look at this thing. So from April, May, June, July, August, I think there will not be soybeans. That means the companies and we and the company, we have to be sitting down because you don't get. You have to be sitting down without doing anything until maybe the new one comes. Because nowadays the old ones are not more there.
The Bamaya advantage pass just a affordness. And yes, I intimate your business and
I'm saying this on authority. The quantity left in the hands of farmers in the north is very minimal. And if we are to allow these foreigners to continue for just 3 weeks, I don't think we can even get a single bag of soya beans to continue till the beginning of the next season, which will be happening around November. And you know, from now to November is very far. And the whole supply chain is going to come down, because I don't think we can get the produce to the companies. And I don't even think the companies will be able to also produce or process their product when they don't have raw materials. So we are appealing to the government to help us put a stop to the current exportation of soya bean. We are everywhere.
Now, government should really come up with regulations. We are the players. We must be involved in the regulations because we know the nitty-gritties of the business. We have valuable information to put into it that will help the nation, like it's been done with cocoa, cashew, or whatever it is.
Meanwhile, the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Efriye Akuto, admits the challenges in the soybean industry. He reveals plans are in place to avert the situation, empower the producers, and expects bumper yields at the end of 2021.
I know the soya processors are really struggling because even in its infant stage, there are these Indians who are exporting. So I've stopped that. I went to Parliament to get the bylaw to say that before you export soya, you have to get a permit from my committee. It's a joint committee between us and the Ministry of Trade, which was inaugurated less than 2 months ago. So we are taking charge, but ultimately it's the authority which is coming, the Grain Development Authority, which will take over the implementation of that legislative instrument. And not only that, all the crops. At the moment, people are coming from Burkina, the harvest is on, I hear they are in Techiman already. They bring their safer, change into CD, buy and they put an articulator, they go. Last year, I wrote to the Minister of Finance and his Customs Department that at the border they should stop any movement of grains without a permit from me, signed personally by me. And it worked to an extent, but that was in the middle of the season. Now we are coming to a new season. I'm going to send a reminder to the minister to remind the customs at the borders that without a permit from the Minister for Food and Agriculture, they should not allow farm produce to cross their borders, because we have to secure these for ourselves. And instead of adding value according to Ghana Beyond Aid, these unauthorized traders are shipping them abroad. So we are bringing some order into the market, and we hope that because the authority will regulate the market, apart from developing them, these crops, is also a regulator. So it's the one which will give a license if you want to trade, if you want to export, if you want to process. You need to have a license from the authority before these things can happen. And then to make sure that the price, there's a price prevailing that is determined year by year by the authority. Just like the tree crop, that's what they are going to do. And the same will apply to the grain crops.
The soybean industry is obviously a very important one, which has a long value chain contributing to the socio-economic development of Ghana. When the industry is properly regulated and streamlined, it could become the gold or cocoa of the North, raking millions of cedis in the local economy. It is therefore imperative that government and all the necessary stakeholders put in the work to address the challenges leading to the collapse of the sector.